light a candle, drink a potion, close your eyes and see. Mystic Places is a soundtrack for watching the sun go down on a humid summer evening, dense as the warm air full of fireflies, and long enough to take you into the dark of the night. It is for conjuring good spirits. It was born in the purest moments of experimentation and naive impulse, as if the synthesizers and sequencers were Ouija boards, guiding my hand to a destination I didn't know existed. It was carefully edited and mixed for long-playing cohesion, blending synth explorations with field recordings, singing bowls, and a 7-year-old girl's recorder. Put on the headphones and relax, or crank up your stereo, and see who else shows up to listen. Well, Drew and I are happy that you are here, dear listener, to listen. I'm Howie Howard from Mr. Furious Records. This is Dat Fury Radio. And today, I've got Drew from Night Mode and his recent album, Mystic Places. What's going on, Drew?
I'm just sitting on my porch, watching the sun go down on a humid summer evening.
Did you plan your setting there to line up with the text that I just read, which comes from the Bandcamp page? It's something you put on the Bandcamp page of this album.
Yeah. No, it's a nice evening and still light out. I thought I'd just sit out on the porch instead of going into the studio.
I love that.
Yeah, just watching my cat.
Mystic Places is the first release we put on the Night Mode Bandcamp in 2 years, which is probably the longest break we've had. I think there might be some stuff on the Mr. Furious page, maybe. Definitely the crossover one, at least.
Yeah,
but
I think
it's
we
been a
did.
while.
I think we did a record through another label. I think we did a record for Completely Gone Records a while ago.
I can't remember the sequence off the top of my head. There's so much of it, but I'll put it in the notes.
Yeah, I think you and I collaborated on that.
Was that the Burn the Ships one? Is that one of the pieces on it?
Yeah, I think so.
We go. What's the? I'm digressing, but what's the title of that something? You sank my ship's muchacho or something. There was the Ideal Cleaners reference in it.
Yeah, I forgot.
So this is cool. Late Hours. Are these samples?
No, this is my Korg wave drum. It's electronic hand drum. It has an actual drum head, but it triggers what do you call it?
Is there some kind of physical modeling or something?
Yeah, I think it's physical modeling. Yeah, it's I think this model was new in 2013, so it's not terribly new technology, but there aren't a lot of instruments like this. Obviously, there are plenty of MIDI pad triggers that will play samples, but the wave drum appealed to me because you can interact with it like a regular drum. So yeah, I just found a couple presets that sounded fun, something like I'd want to just explore a little bit, and I just started playing. I think I instead of using a metronome, I put a delay plug-in on my input signal, and I just played along to the delay. And that kept me in time so I could then do another take and overdub. So this is two drum passes on different presets. And then I overdubbed some MS-20. So yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of the other songs on this record where I had a new piece of gear and I wanted to learn how to use it, and I did it with the tape running, and I mean, not literal tape, I just recorded into Reaper, but yeah, so I kind of get something that interested me, and then I just layer other stuff with it. Yeah, I don't know. It just all has kind of a ritual, ambient, occult kind of vibe. The whole record, that's sort of the unifying theme. I didn't have any real purpose or agenda. I was just having fun. Oh, and there's a field recording of frogs and night bugs, which are
does that continue on to the next track?
Yeah.
Let's listen to this for a second.
All right.
So like you wrote in the bit that I read at the top, like this is a long play experience if you want it to be, and we're not covering all of it tonight. We kind of picked a section, tracks 3 through 8 I think we're gonna do, that represented, you know, some of the variety that's on this record or on this project, while leaving some, you know, to discover.
Yeah.
Did you, as you were starting pieces and did you feel like you were making a record? Like, were the pieces hanging together in their early stages, or is this kind of assembled, the tracks collected after the fact a little bit?
I knew I was getting bits and pieces that could be put together if I just used enough editorial judgment. I'm like, almost everything started from a longer free-form piece that I kind of trimmed down and then either just like mastered or you know, as it is, or I added layers to it. What you're hearing right now is just an improvisational monophonic synth thing that I was doing one day. The background textures are just looped layers lingering from whatever preceded this. So like I had some I think I had a sequencer playing something, and that kind of just by this point it's cycled through a bunch of times and a bunch of effects, and it's just sort of a ambient bed of sound. And then I think I'm just improvising a moody piece with my mini brute. And I think that's going through a reverb and a phaser. Yeah, that's all just kind of happening at the mixer. Like, I had a bunch of stuff plugged into a Mackie mixer, and so I was just recording the stereo output of that. And this is a piece that I liked, and I just kind of trimmed it out of whatever else was going on.
I'm glad you called out the Mini Brute. I recognize that sound, and that's like one of the OG Night Mode pieces of gear. That was in your rig at the first shows we did with Damon. And
yeah, well, that's the first synth that I ever bought. I don't know. I just keep going back to it because it's simple and immediate, and if you run anything through a bunch of effects pedals, you can make interesting sounds. Just from a pure synthesis standpoint, it's not like terribly exciting, but it'll do really weird noises with the filter, just really degraded sounds that other synths won't do. And it has an arpeggiator, so
yeah,
I get a lot of mileage out of that arpeggiator.
Definitely, that ARP is on lots of Night Mode stuff, some of the early Night Mode stuff. And
it's got CV ins and outs and MIDI out. I want to say I might have actually been controlling not just the Mini Brute, but I might have also had MIDI out going into my Make Noise No Coast. And I think that was maybe then feeding back into the audio input on the Mini Brute and then going through its filter. So it's kind of like I added another oscillator to it.
Yeah.
And then that was all going through some pedals. So yeah, that was a piece that was just all done live in one shot, and I just kind of trimmed it down. I think this piece is it's kind of the same story. Like, you can hear the arpeggiator on the Mini Brute there. And then there's another sequence playing from a different synthesizer. That's from my Melody Oracle. There's this guy who just lives in a off-grid cabin somewhere in Northern California, and he builds these really weird synthesizers. I mean, they're all really out of left field. Really unique user interfaces. This thing is like a magnetic game board synth. It's like a magnetic like the top surface of it is a PCB with just like it's like a normally closed circuit, I think, but when you move these magnetized little chess pieces onto different triangle shaped contacts on the top of the PCB, it produces different sequences. So yeah, that's kind of going on in the background of the intro. And then what you're hearing here is the Moog DFAM. That's doing the drum sounds. And then the Make Noise No Coast is being sequenced by the No Control. So that's kind of two independent sequences that are clocked. They're on the same clock source, and then I'm playing the mini brute over that.
I've been trying to say about the mini brute, like, I feel like it has a bad reputation in synth circles, and I've never really understood that. I've always thought it sounded interesting and pretty good, and not like anything else. And
yeah,
I've always enjoyed hearing it.
I'm content to, hang on to it and keep using it. So
I want to ask a process question to change it up for everybody who's not super gear heavy, but I have another gear question too. But like process wise, so
okay,
we could talk plenty of gear, no problem. But like process wise, so you're fooling around with a new instrument, you find something you like, you do a jam and record it, and so you've got a block of sound. What's your how do you decide what to add? Is that just pretty intuitive, or do you kind of analyze, oh, well, I've got a drone, so I need something percussive, or how do you decide about your layers?
Yeah, it depends entirely on what musical element or range of sound I think it's lacking. If it's like a melodic element, or if I want to enhance what's already there, or if I want to add some rhythm, or add some sound design or some chaos, like I have different things I can reach for. Sometimes it's just, what do I feel like hooking up and playing with? I don't know, sometimes something just calls to you and you just turn it on and see what happens. I don't know, I try not to think about it too hard. I mean, this is all, the whole point is to not get too stuck in the process, not spend too much time composing or like worrying about songwriting.
Right, you've got plenty of opportunities to do that elsewhere.
Yeah, this is just supposed to be no rules. I think you and I agreed a while ago that the only rule for Night Mode is just no vocals. Like that's really just what I try and keep in mind.
Yeah, I don't think I've broken that rule, but I'd forgotten that I agree, and I like casting a wide net and just having a lot that's in bounds and keeping it really, really varied.
Yeah. And the no vocal thing is actually like, it's not so much a constraint, it's just an extra degree of freedom for me, because the vocals is what I always get hung up on.
True, yeah, that's actually a great key to keep things moving, is to just be like, we're definitely not going to worry about vocals. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe we could allow vocoder or something. Sure,
yeah. I think it's a rule, as in a guideline. And if we got to a point where a song felt like it needed some type of vocal, a sample, a vocoder, some kind of, I don't know, something from a movie or whatever, like,
yeah,
I wouldn't want to be rigid about it.
Yeah, I will say I've been performing the last year or so using a lot of cassette tapes that have spoken word.
Yeah.
So I think that's fair game.
I'm glad you mentioned cassette because that kind of leads back into my other gear question. I'm gonna get the last track we're gonna sample off of Mystic Places, Magma, Oracle, Cosmos going. You can find Mystic Places at nightmode.bandcamp.com, or is it on streaming?
No, it's just on Bandcamp. I haven't uploaded. I don't think I've ever uploaded any of my Night Mode stuff to the streaming services. Is this the kind of thing that people stream?
Some people do, but if you want, this is a little bit of shop talk, but my Night Mode stuff, some of it is on streaming under Night Mode (Kansas) because straight up Night Mode was taken.
Oh, really?
So if you want, we can talk. I'd be happy to handle any Night Mode related uploading you want to do, so it ends up or just
I already pay for DistroKid. I could do it. I'm just too lazy. I haven't even uploaded the last Dark Satellites album.
Sure. No, I just want the podcast listeners to know where they can find it.
Sure. Yeah, for my stuff, I'd always prefer that people just go to Bandcamp. I'm just really not a fan of the streaming services. I think I've always had a bad experience as a user, and then it's just a shitty exploitative business model. So
agreed.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel go to Bandcamp. I feel obligated to meet listeners halfway on some of it, and
I hear you.
Working on, but it's not the simple, easy solution that it seems like from the listener side necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, speaking of gear talk,
my question, cassettes, quick. So the whole,
right, yeah.
I wanted to ask about mixing and mastering because the whole album has kind of an upper mid, somewhat cassette-like, I mean higher fidelity, but somewhat cassette-like vibe to the mix or the master, and I wanted to ask how you got that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of that is just a result of the sound sources. So, like, you can hear those cicadas right now. That's another field recording. I mean, a lot of the field recordings are a pretty major layer, and most of the time when I'm out there, I'm sampling things in that range. And aside from the percussive elements that made it on the wave drum and the DFAM, and maybe some of the lower frequencies in the subharmonicon tracks, there's just a lot of mid-range. That's just where I usually live. That's just kind of that's how I like things to sound.
True, yeah.
I did use when I was mixing it, I used a VHS tape plug-in on the 2-bus a lot of the time, and I kind of automated the parameters on it so that the fidelity would make gradual but like really dramatic shifts.
Mm-hmm.
So some of it does just actually have an emulated tape sound anyway. I mean, I wasn't like actively avoiding the really low frequencies. It's just I didn't really make a lot of sounds in that range.
Yeah, it's completely balanced, and not everything making some choices about what frequency ranges to emphasize and not is part of what creates the vibe, and part of what creates that long form. You're designing a sonic space, and sometimes it's more full range, sometimes it's more bass heavy, sometimes it's more top end or mids, and it all contributes.
Yeah, I suppose I was sort of subconsciously maybe going for kind of a tape sound, like has this kind of found sound quality to it. Very I don't know, occult and ritualistic.
Exactly, and that kind of goes. Do you want to talk about the artwork, because the overall tapiness kind of invokes the same era as the artwork?
Right. Yeah, we haven't talked about the concept yet. Yeah. So when I was a kid, we had these Time Life books. They did this series, I think it was called Mysteries of the Unknown. It was I don't know, compendium of like supernatural and occult themed topics, like ghosts and UFOs and psychic powers and
pyramids, Bermuda Triangle,
lost civilizations, Bermuda Triangle, Atlantis. And I read those. We didn't have the whole set, but we had maybe half a dozen of them, and I just remember I was pretty fascinated by those as a kid, and they had really cool cover art. Somewhere mid-project, I realized that I don't know, just the mood and the vibe that I was getting out of all the stuff that I had been doing just kind of felt like it was part of that same mysterious universe explored in those books. And I was kind of thinking about all the massive library of tracks that I was putting together, and like it'd be kind of cool if I just started releasing a series of albums that are just like my recreation of what I remember of that book series as a kid. So I messaged my friend Ethan, who's done most of my album artwork for various projects, and I said, hey, have you ever seen these books? Do you think you could do like you think you could recreate them in your drawing style? And I think the first one I sent him was Mystic Places, and he did exactly that. It turned out exactly how I imagined it would, and that's the first record in the series. I don't know how many I'm gonna do. I hope the people at Time Life don't have a problem with it. All these are for free. I'm not charging anybody any money for this, so I have nothing to give them if they tell me to take it down. But it's just those books they're objects of nostalgia for me, and really this music kind of evokes that same kind of feeling for me, just like nostalgia, occultism,
Yeah, that was a huge thing back then. I mean, I read all that. I don't remember the Time Life series specifically, but I read so much Bermuda Triangle and UFOs and
yeah,
all that type of stuff.
Yeah, I think the Mystic Places book was a lot of like the Great Pyramids and Stonehenge, and I think there was probably something about the lost city of Atlantis, and you know, that whole theme.
Perfect. Well, Mystic Places by Night Mode is available at nightmode.bandcamp.com, only at nightmode.bandcamp.com. Drew is sticking around for a couple more episodes, but listeners, we will let you go for this week and be back next week with more Dat Fury Radio.